who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello. Welcome. This is the Wow Report. We are having a special Thanksgiving episode of all the things that we're great. It's an attitude of gratitude.
I like when you said that, yes.
Attitude of gratitude. I'm here with Tom Campbell, our Chief Creative Officer at World of Wonder.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much,
Fenton.
Oh,
Thank you. And James St. James.
Hello, hello, hello.
I'm overflowing with gratitude to you today. And Blake Jacobs, of course.
Hi.
So what we do is we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. And this week, it's all about gratitude and thankfulness and squirrels and fluffy
pumpkins
dogs
and pumpkin pies and turkeys.
Beautiful things like that.
And corn.
And corn.
Number 10, Tom.
Number 10.
I have started, I am no saint, but the last couple of months with a friend, I've been sharing a gratitude list.
Oh.
Have you really?
Back
I
and
didn't know
forth.
about this.
It's just the idea of resetting your brain a little bit to be grateful. And I'm not bad at it. You know, I'm always very judgy of myself. But I'm thankful for coffee. I'm thankful for cats. I'm thankful for mornings. I'm thankful for another day. So
You do this every day?
I do, back and
list.
forth.
You
Well,
write
once
a-
in a while we miss, but we try very hard
Wait, you
to.
wake up in the morning and say...
We text each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it one item each or as many
as you can? And I used to feel bad, but I'm probably I average between 5 and 10.
But
And
you
so-
don't, because sometimes after a certain age, you wake up and you're cranky every day, as opposed to waking up and jumping out of bed and being happy.
And you just need to switch an
Okay.
attitude of gratitude. So anyway, so for my first one, so I'm kind of in practice. I hope I don't show you guys up. No, I'm terrible. But it's simple things, and I'm grateful for. I'm not going to say Trump because James has got me. I want to say Trump, but I want to say the resistance. I'm grateful for the
Trump
resistance,
effect,
the Trump effect, and I'm grateful for the women and the people of diversity, of religion and color who stood up in this past election and changed the House blue.
You know, whether or not it was a blue wave, and people are saying more and more now that it was a blue wave, but it does feel like there was a big change happening, especially among the Democrats, where there's a whole new wave of people out there to be excited about. And I am very excited by some of the people that I've seen coming in and some of the people that were campaigning, Beto, Stacey, Andrew Gillum. I love all these people. And Alexandria, how do you pronounce her name?
Yeah.
Cortez,
Yes,
Ocasio-Cortez.
It's so diverse. And also, they said it was going to be a blue wave if the Democrats won 40 seats. And now in all the recounts and everything, I think we're up to 37 or 38. So
Pretty close.
in the House, right?
And you've seen that.
It is the biggest change that has happened since Watergate, is what they're saying.
That's
right.
right.
We've gotten the most since Watergate. So that there's nothing to sneeze
Because
at there.
as liberals, we tend to. I'm grateful to be a liberal too, by the way. It's all under this one category. But we tend to pick away at our accomplishments, and we tend to sort of
the
shoot
circular
ourselves
firing
in the-
squad.
Yes.
It's like and I noticed you're wearing a beautiful blue today.
I am in gratitude. There's also that picture going around on Facebook and stuff where they show the new class of Republicans, which is all a bunch of white men, and then they have the new class of Democrats, and it's this beautiful.
And it's everything. It's everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's nice. And it does make you feel good.
And the number of Republican women is really small, and the number of Democratic women is really large. So, and I know I pay more attention to California and New Hampshire, where I'm from, and my brother and sister are. And New Hampshire, I think with the exception of the governor, New Hampshire's a very kind of 50-50 state, went blue, like total course correct.
All
correction.
of New England, in fact, went blue.
Yes.
And they were saying that the only holdout is Susan Collins, who we're hoping to get out in 2020 because she's a turncoat
she won,
piece
did
of
she?
piece
She
of
won.
No,
work.
she wasn't up for election, but now she's surrounded by blue.
Hey, I have an ignorant question, but when these politicians retire, like Paul Ryan, are they just stepping away to return in some other guise?
Yes, Paul Ryan will be back in
his
2020.
case.
When it's a more favorable climate for that.
No. He's going to run for president. I guarantee that's what that
But it's
going to
get ugly, so he gets to retreat and just be kind of come
escape
back.
the heat.
Yes.
Right?
And then he gets to come back as
a reformer and a changer and all that kind of stuff. But we talk about pop culture in the show, but it has been influenced by the Trump of it all. But
I do think that's interesting in that pop culture and politics used to be so clearly separate and
Yes.
delineated.
Well-
and I suppose an aspect of Trump is as a TV star and a celebrity real estate, et cetera, et cetera.
Is it-
He sort of brought the two worlds together in a way that.
Well, you have
maybe?
to say that Fox and CNN also contributed to making it into a sport, making politics into a reality
Yep.
show where this whole culture of opinion as opposed to news is what gets people fired up.
But instead of leaving on a sad
Yes.
note, I am
Sorry.
grateful. No. I'm grateful for all this is true, but I'm grateful for the progress that's made. Progress, not perfection. Blue, women, gays, Orange County is blue. Hallelujah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Trying to wrap that up.
I like blue hallelujah. That works.
All right, so James, number 9.
Number 9.
Well, blah, blah, blah. We're all thankful that Betty White is still alive.
Yes.
We're all
Oh.
thankful that Tony, Bennett is still alive, and Doris Day and Kirk Douglas. Right? These are the ones that we all know about, and we're thankful every day to see them. But I found a list of other stars that are still alive, and this is something that makes me very happy, and I'm very thankful for, and it's going to be something that Tom is going to appreciate, and Fenton and Blake are going to tune out.
So
but that's okay.
So your statement is you're grateful for.
that there are other people that aren't getting as much attention as Betty White and Doris
So you're
Day.
talking about the stars that are up there that are still with us,
who are
still
in their
here.
90s and
Stars of
100s.
yesteryear.
Stars of
I
Still
love
here
that. That's
today.
a great thing to be grateful
Thank
for.
you. And I'm going to read about 110.
I love it.
All right, get comfortable.
But I wanted Arlene Dahl is 93.
She's Lorenzo
Lamas's
Lamas's mother.
And she was on One Life to Live. She was in a bunch of movies in the 1940s. Sylvia Miles
Well,
is 94 years old.
Amazing.
And I'll tell you something.
The real estate agent from Wall Street. That's how. Is that her most memorable role?
Well, no, she was nominated for an Oscar for Urban. What was it? The cowboy one. The
Urban Cowboy?
No, the where he was the hustler in Times Square.
Oh, yes. The
Midnight.
Midnight Cowboy, yes. And she was a Warhol superstar for many, many years. And I do just want to say, and this is something that you can edit this out depending on what Fenton's reaction here is, that
all eyes on me.
94 years old. That means in the 90s.
You're fucking.
No, sorry.
All eyes on Fenton.
That means that she was your age when we knew her in the 1980s, when she was in Nelson's documentary. And remember, she was
Remember
an
how
old,
fucking old we thought she was?
And now,
I mean, it's same with love. Same with
Yeah.
love. Look, you come to, when you are old, you come to appreciate. You got to appreciate longevity.
Okay, just very quickly, June Lockhart from Lost in Space and Lassie is 93. Jane Withers, who was a child star in the 1930s.
And was the Comet Lady.
Yes,
Yes?
she was Comet, yes.
She used to live in a pink mansion in the Hollywood Hills and had pink poodles.
Okay. Baby Peggy, who is the last known surviving silent movie star. She was born in 1918. She was a child star in 1922.
she's 100.
She was 100 years old. She was literally one of the first child stars.
Still
She was
alive.
Huge, yes.
I think there needs to be a show where you get all these 90-year-olds, the 90s house.
Yeah,
You have
Gina
to be
Lola-
90 to get in it.
There are a lot of ramps. No offense. No offense.
Gina Lola Brigida is 91. Anne Blythe. Vita, please!
Anne Blythe was in Mildred Pierce.
Mildred Pierce, yes, she's 90. Jane Powell is 89. Bob Newhart is 80. Ed Asner is 89. Tippi Hedren, our friend, is
how old is she?
88. Jenna
Wow.
Rowlands, 88. Jean-Luc Godard is still alive.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Yeah, 87. Mamie Van Doren, one of our great friends
Yes.
here at World of Wonder, 87.
And still looks
Still
so good.
looks is a sex bomb posing nude on Twitter. You see her
What?
all. She looks fantastic.
There's got to be a filter involved.
Maybe. Marla Gibbs, 87. Barbara Eden, 87.
She looks good.
Mitzi Gaynor, 87.
Love Mitzi
Angie
Gaynor.
Dickinson, 87. Julie Newmar, 85.
Stop it! My heart's gonna
I
overflow
know.
with love.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Tina Louise, 84. And then very quickly, George Takei, Sally Kellerman, Polly Holiday, Ned Beatty, Marlo Thomas, Claudia Cardinale, Diana Rigg, Terrence Stamp, Connie Stevens, Stella Stevens, Bobby Vinton, Lee Merriweather, Ruta Lee, Diane Carroll, Johnny Mathis, Alan DeLong, Glenda Jackson, Ursula Andress, Anna Maria Alberghetti, Ruth Buzzy, Nancy Dussault, Gavin McLeod.
That is the best list of celebrities I've ever heard. I would only add Arlene Galanka, who's alive.
Who's that?
She was she was always playing a wife. Like she never quite made it, but I just love her.
Arlene Galanka?
I say Arlene Galanka to RuPaul, and we just laugh for hours. And I just saw on TV recently too that Kirk Douglas.
Oh, it was 101.
102. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, 102.
Or 1
and he was just at the star on the Walk of Fame
For
when
Michael, for his son.
his son, yeah. And he spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. How did you find that list? How did you do it?
Boy Culture is a blog that I follow, and he does
Matthew
things.
Redman.
Yeah, Matthew Redman, and he does Last Star Standing, a thing he does every year, and it's fascinating.
I love that. I mean, I really think that I'd love to see them all.
I know.
And are any of them on Twitter or Instagram? I mean, you said well, maybe Van Doren is, right?
Yeah, and George Takei, of course, still has a
course,
very big.
There was that Carl Reiner documentary recently where he talked to a bunch of people who are 90, like Norman Lear and whatnot. But I like the idea of this huge long list and going to visit them. James St. James going to visit them.
That would make my day. That would make my year.
A hug.
Carl Reiner is somebody who has a big internet. I mean, a big Twitter following. Yeah,
I say throw them all in a house, like Floribama Shore.
They might all
I
be in
think
a
it should be a
house.
huge warehouse of them. Just like put them all in there.
an island somewhere.
They throw a rave.
Senility Island. No, they're not. No,
We are senile.
I
They are
have no right to speak
no
in that
way
way
whatsoever.
I last night or the other night was the Out 100, and I felt so old.
Well, bearing the headline,
felt
Randy and
old.
Fenton were given the Media Pioneer Awards.
Yes, indeed, we were. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. We said that we are out of our minds, and we have a collective age of over 100. So, it makes
So you
sense.
belong on James' list.
Number 8.
I am thankful at number 8 for my trainer, Andrew Mitchell. And, like my natural state is vegetative. I just cannot abide exercise. And I really wouldn't exercise unless I knew that I had paid him some money and I had to show up. So he gets me there. And
Is he a nice trainer?
he's really
or is,
nice.
Is he a
He's
hard
a really
ass?
sweet guy. No, he's really sweet.
Okay.
But he also, there's a trainer at this gym who's so rude to his clients. He's like, "You're lazy, push harder," and like, you just. Andrew is so lovely and sweet.
We all like it different ways, don't we?
So I kind of hate it. So we.
Some like it rough, and some like it easy.
So I'm doing now my crunches and my things, and we spar. We go back. He loves Katy Perry, and I love Britney Spears, and we fight over it. Like for the last few years, endlessly. We just. Go
So what you're
on
saying-
With
and
pads and
on.
boxing gloves, or just with words?
Just with words.
Okay.
Just
Like,
with
take that, Britney.
But one of the things, and every time this time of year, he comes in and he's very clean living, right? He's unbelievably fit, but he does allow himself at the holiday season once or twice a week a cup of tea.
What?
And he comes to the gym
You
with
can't
a cup
have
of
tea when you're exercising?
No. Not just any tea. He has Celestial Seasonings holiday tea selection.
Wait, what's
I
wrong
tell
with
you,
tea,
That's
though?
his cheat day?
I know. My
And
cheat
he-
day is pizza and Milanos.
It's his
That's
cheat
every day.
And he is so excited.
But wait, I don't. You have to back up here because what is wrong with? I thought tea was good. I thought tea was something that
I
the
suppose
ancients
it's got
have used.
caffeine in it. I suppose.
Oh.
But he loves he like sugar cookie sleigh ride, or sugar plum spice, or candy cane lane, or cranberry vanilla wonderland.
These are all
or
kinds of teas that he
Nutcracker
allows himself.
Sweet. Yes, they're only at the holiday season do Celestial Seasonings release this limited selection, 6 flavors of holiday teas.
Now I noticed that somebody
Once a week, he'll
What
treat
kind
himself.
of alien is he that this excites him?
But wait a second, because I want to, because I think we need to put some context here.
Okay,
Because
okay.
Fenton, I think, has been feeding off of this because I just ran into Coco Peru in the office the other day, and she was carrying a box of Celestial tea, and she said, "Fenton just gave me this." So you've been giving out Celestial teas to people?
Well, actually,
You have someone with you right now?
I've got some for you. It is the season, right?
Well, and Coco Peru is famous for the tempered. What's it called?
Oh, is she?
It was
You
a
can-
callback to
You can pick a flavor. You can put Sweet Harvest Pumpkin, or let's see,
Sugar Cookie Sleigh Ride.
Candy Cane Lane is green tea decaffeinated.
This just makes me want to eat real.
Oh, gingerbread spice. Yeah. I mean, the weird thing is with Andrew, a lot of these are caffeine free, so I don't know what the issue is that he can't have it
Yeah,
every
that's
day.
what I understand. I can't.
I guess it's just a nut caca. Anyway, I torment him.
I'm feeling fat shamed by this story.
Yeah.
That somebody has 0 calorie tea is their cheat day. What does it say about my regular
Well,
day?
My thing is, I'm like screw the tea. I want to drink IPAs. And he's like, oh, IPA is bad. He tells me this because I love IPA beers. And it's like there's been
Which
this
is a
whole...
newish thing for you.
For me, it is, yes. And like, I guess I wasn't drinking for a few years when the whole IPA thing happened.
I don't even know what an IPA is.
IPA, it's like an artisanal beer.
What does it stand for?
It's like...
India Pale Ale.
Thank you. Yes. In 1793, a brewer, they sent British ale to India because it was part of the empire, darling.
Yes.
And the thing, it would go off in the boats. It would rot. It would ferment. It would go off. So they put hops in. They put extra hops into the beer, and that preserved the beer and gave you a very hoppy flavor. And that's what IPA is known for. And there has been this explosion of all different kinds of IPAs. I
Yeah.
mean,
So wait, we're all over the map here because we started off being
Tea,
thankful for your trainer.
Yeah,
then it
that's
went to some
tea.
tea, and now it's
because
the IPAs.
we argue, he's always going about, I like drinking Celestial Seasonings Holiday Selection, and I'm like, I like drinking IPA. And his whole thing to me is you should have a sip of an IPA and then pour the rest down the drain. I'm like, are you insane? I'm gonna drink
that's
the whole bottle.
that thing you can have a bite of chocolate cake and then spit it
Right,
out.
right, that's like
Didn't
Karl
work for
Lagerfeld
very
thing.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing to you,
Yes, you
Fenton?
may, yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's so good.
See what I did there?
I tell you though, I guess
I'm out. I'm out. That's it.
I am
One
great.
too many.
What I do love, whether it's tea or the IPA, is the branding and the marketing of these things is incredible. They just like the IPA names. Ice Cream Man, or Insufficient Clearance, or Virtual Planetoid, or Fashionably Late, or Belching Beaver. You know,
Sounds like
those are pretty crazy
Sounds like
names.
a book club to me.
Well, no, it sounds a bit like what's the vaping flavors?
Oh,
That's
yes.
yes.
Which
I
may
tell
or
you,
may not be illegal now. I've
The
come in
21st
trouble
century is
following
all
that
about
story.
impossible combinations of flavors.
Yeah.
It's a riot of flavors,
Yes.
and I am grateful for that. So,
All right.
all right, we're going to take a quick break.
Wow.
You know, we're having
That made me go.
Wow, that was a lot. You packed a lot into your segment,
Well,
and thank you.
factoids.
I'm grateful for that.
Oh, thank you. Hey, it's Thanksgiving Thursday, means Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and World of Wonder, the store is having a sale.
I mean,
We've
right
got-
here at 6650 Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, come visit, and you'll get
Corner of
like,
Cherokee
you get
in front of RuPaul's Star.
Yeah. Yes. 10% off DragCon weekend tickets. Wow Presents Plus 25% off. 2 enamel pins. Third one free. Things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And maybe your third one could be the Randy and Fenton pin.
It could be.
You are selling the Randy and Fenton pin, aren't
the world's only two-faced pin. Whoa. Okay, we'll be right back. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy. I forgot the question. Here's the question, guys. How many flavors of Celestial Seasonings tea are there? This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. Just before the break, we were asking the question: how many flavors of Celestial Seasonings teas are there?
784.
You're wrong.
785.
You're wrong too.
Over under.
You know, it's fascinating because they retire flavors and they list the retired flavors on their website, so you can go and look at teas that they don't make anymore.
Every tea that has ever been in existence.
But they have 105 flavors,
Oh.
which is pretty cool. Okay, so we are counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
with gratitude. Number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
I'm grateful for sleep. I'm grateful for a good night's sleep.
Oh, God.
And I would say that I'm a man. I live a good life. I have nothing to complain about. I am one of the lucky people. I drive a BMW. I live in a rented apartment because I do not want to own because I'm too crazy about that. But the biggest luxury that I can ever be given is a nap. I love a nap. I wish I was having a nap right now.
No, I've been trying to get World of Wonder to put a room with cots in it so we could have a little nap
think
time.
I might lose my job if that happened because I would be
Could
the
you
nap.
do that? Could you take a nap at work?
Oh, sure.
Well, they
Really?
in Spain and everywhere they do. They say that a 20-minute siesta rejuvenates you.
Well, that's all I did. I think the body is meant to sleep in the middle of the day because it's hot, because you're full of food.
But do you feel that the environment is, conducive
Oh,
to...
I can fall asleep anywhere.
Okay.
I really can. I'm one
you
of those
should
people.
take a nap. No, I don't think anyone's going to shame you. Do it. Can we film it?
The nap room thing. Okay, and so I just think nap, and I say that because sometimes sleeping long or taking a nap is considered kind of like lazy. or I feel guilty about it. And my mom, God rest her soul, Mary Campbell, she's listening to the Wow Report. I would call my mother when she was in New Hampshire. And I was out here. I would go, Mom, I slept like 11 hours last night, and she would say, "Well, you must have needed it."
Exactly.
Which is such a healthy way of looking at things. And there's all those statistics about it reduces stress and cholesterol and all that. Luckily, I have all those things because I eat pizza before I go to bed. But I just wanted a couple of factoids about sleep. Do you know that 12% of people dream entirely in black and white?
Well, I have heard that. I don't think I do.
2/3 of a cat's life is spent sleeping. Now we know why I love the kitty cats.
I pulled that for the trivia question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, you know what you got to do right now.
Yeah.
The record for the longest period of sleep, period without sleep, is 11 days, and it was by James St. James.
I was gonna say I have done 4 or 5 days in my.
What is that like?
Well, you start to dream while you're awake.
Yeah.
You go into REM sleep, and it's not. It's
Not
interesting.
pretty.
Not pretty to be around, but it's pretty to experience.
And sleep deprivation will kill you more quickly than food deprivation.
It's true. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff.
Well, I don't think that there's as much a stigma attached to it as there used to be, because Ariana Huffington has made it her great cause.
Right.
And I think a lot of CEOs are listening to her, and people, it sort of filters down.
I've rarely ever had any kind of insomnia. I'm very lucky that way, because I know people that do, and it does drive you crazy. But I do. It's so simple just to wake up in the morning and be like grateful for a good night's sleep and a warm bed.
Well, I do think
with a lot of cat fur.
I know. I'm very impressed that you can wake up in a good mood, because Samuel Johnson had a great quote about how no man but a blockhead ever wakes up after 40 with a smile on his face.
Well, there you have it.
Do you sleep well, James?
It varies, because if my mind starts spinning at about midnight, then it'll be like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I don't get to sleep. But when I do, if I get, like last night, I went to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and I woke up at 7, and it was perfect. It was just, I was in a good mood. Like, I had enough.
Do you want a chocolate mousse or that sleep? That sleep. Would you like to go to Paris and at a 5-star hotel, or have that sleep? That sleep. Sleep to me is such a beautiful, precious.
There's nothing better than sleeping in a hotel room.
Oh my God, you're right.
That to me, like it's a whole. Oh.
I like to travel, get to the hotel, and go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't turn on a TV when I'm in a hotel room.
I don't
No,
either.
I like tune everything out, and then I get room service when I wake up. It's just
Room
heaven.
service is the best.
Yes.
And what they have in
I'm thankful
hotels
for
that
all
I
of
don't
that.
have in my own home, I could get them blackout curtains. If I had blackout curtains, I would never wake up.
I don't
I would
have-
always be home.
I have
Clean
blackout
I have
curtains.
blackout curtains. Yeah.
And I'm thankful I just got my CPAP machine this year. The best sleep now.
Oh, good for
What
you.
is that?
It's that
When you're too
Bane.
fat.
It's like the Batman villain Bane.
Oh, hot.
I love your medical descriptions. That explains it.
All right. Number 6, James.
Number 6.
This is going to be a very quick one, so you'll be happy about this. But I am happy. Once again, this might be something that only you know.
Oh,
I'm
very
happy.
grateful.
I'm very grateful for Kari Steele and Ted Ziegenbusch.
do you remember who they are?
KOST Los Angeles, Coast 103.5.
Are they the morning
No, they're
or the nighttime
they're
ones?
the nighttime ones. Coast 103.5. Now, I'm not, I loathe nostalgia, okay? I am not somebody who sits around and listens to music from my teen years and gets all gooey-eyed.
You're very contemporary
yes,
that way.
Give me some Shawn Mendes, give me a little 5 sauce. I'm happy. I don't need to go back in time.
Okay.
But 103.5, Coast 103.5, is soft hits from the 80s, 90s, and today.
Yes.
Okay? And they talk like this.
They do talk
They
very
talk like
pleasant.
I
NPR.
love-
Yeah. And it's a little bit
Would
like,
you,
what is
would you
this?
speak like that for this segment,
I'll
please?
do the whole
Let's
thing.
all do it
It's,
this
it's
one.
what the kids are doing now, the AM, PMS, or whatever. What's it called?
ASMR.
ASMR, where it's like a video trend where everyone talks like this,
Yes.
and they unpack things, and they talk very softly, and it's very soothing.
They like eat a potato chip.
But Kari Steele is very mother-like, and Ted Ziegenbusch is very much like a father. Did you know that Kari Steele
just
has
went
been
really dark.
no.
No one has been eaten yet, so it's okay.
Kari Steele has been doing soft hits from the 80s, 90s, and today for 28 years on Coast 103.7, and Ted Ziegenbusch has been there for 36 years. I mean, they are LA icons, and sometimes when you're having a bad day and you just turn on some soft hits, and it's soothing.
What sort of soft hits are we talking
We're talking about
I know this much is true.
a little Celine Dion, a little,
like that
you
kind
know,
of thing.
a little,
Moon River?
No. It's 80s, it's 70s,
okay.
80s, 90s music. So it's Madonna's softer hits.
Yes.
It's it's
Whitney, All the Man That I Need.
a lot
that
of
kind
Whitney.
thing.
Yes. So I'm thankful that it exists. I'm thankful that when I need it, it's there for me, and I'm
Are
thankful.
they deep into holiday music? Do they do that on that
Well,
network?
that's just it, because I'm glad you should mention that, because that's part 2 of this, is that November 1st, they start with the holiday music.
What's the channel called on Sirius? It's Holiday or something, or
Oh,
Christmas or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we should look into that.
Blake, what is that channel called on Sirius?
I'll look it up.
There's a couple of Christmassy things on Sirius. Thank you for bringing that up. We are on SiriusXM promoting a radio station. Whatever. It's
The
it's
name of which we
it's Thanksgiving. It's everywhere. It's number like 3. It's number
No, but I
70.
tell you, I am a fiend for holiday music. I love Christmas music. I will start listening to it in July if I will put my Doris Day on in July.
The man who loves nostalgia listens to Doris Day's Silver Bell.
I've told you, Kathy Lee Gifford and Regis do a Silver Bells. That is my favorite. She's
am
like,
familiar.
Reed, you're ruining Silver Bells. I love it.
There are several on Sirius.
yeah.
There's Hallmark Channel Radio, Country Christmas, Holly, Holiday Traditions,
Good.
Navidad, Holiday Soul, Radio Hanukkah, Holiday Pop.
All right.
It goes
Yeah,
on.
so I'm thankful for that.
Alrighty.
Number 5.
This is an anomaly, but I am so grateful. I was just in Vegas filming David Copperfield. And David Copperfield, one of the world's most well-known magicians,
Yes.
certainly one of the most wealthy magicians, I
go
believe,
on.
who has been performing in Vegas for many years. And the reason is we are been working on a film for a few years now, literally a few years
Yes, you
now,
have.
about the Statue of Liberty. And David Copperfield in 1983 disappeared the Statue of
Made
Liberty.
it disappear.
He did a live network special and he disappeared the Statue of Liberty.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Do you know how he did it? Has anyone ever figured out how he did it?
I do know how he did it. But before I reveal that,
Should you reveal it?
well, I don't know.
Is it a code of
actually,
ethics?
It's actually on the interwebs.
Yeah,
and
and I was
he-
going to say nobody's listening
and
to us
he-
anyway.
he
so.
didn't.
When you're right, you're right.
He didn't tell us. But it is out there. You can Google it, and it is
it
revealed.
mirrors?
But the interesting thing is that I suppose in a way I've actually seen. I took Nolan to see David Copperfield's show in Vegas, and I don't know. I've just always been slightly immune to magic, I suppose. But it was an amazing show. And then he was so nice. He said, "Please come and interview me." So we went to Vegas. He said, "You're going to meet me after the show. We're going to go to my museum." And he has his own private magic museum in a warehouse on the outskirts of Vegas. It's midnight. He takes us there.
I'm
He
nervous for
gives us-
everyone.
He gives us a tour of this incredible, mind-blowing museum. And you go in, and what he's done is he's recreated his parents' haberdashery shop down to the last detail, where he, as a kid in New Jersey, grew up. You walk in there, it's like a shop, and then you go into a changing room, then you pull on the tie and the open sesame, you go into this vast emporium. He has everything. And especially what I found so moving, and just, I suppose it was midnight, so, the witching hour.
Sure.
But he has all these posters from this sort of golden age of magic live
Houdinis
shows.
and,
Houdini, Carter the Great,
the great,
Thurston,
the great Kresgen.
yes, and he has all their tricks. He has the cages and the padlock and the water
Like the
chambers.
actual water chamber that Houdini
and it's
used.
a beautiful.
Hit his appendix or something.
Like in Vegas, a lot of things are kind of tacky.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful laid out museum. It's not open to the public, and it's all around you. It's like, it's so dense. It can't be open to public because people just nick everything. But he gives these amazing tours, and for an hour or two, he walked us through. it was absolutely fascinating. And the interesting thing was that what killed the golden era of the magician and these live shows were movies, because the audience preferred the magic of the movies. I mean, he says this, and he says that actually, who was that early guy who made Voyage to the Moon? Melier
Yeah.
was a magician, and that actually film as a tradition was kind of invented and masterminded, not invented technically,
Right.
but what magicians do,
Special effects,
is
magic.
they match art with technology.
Sure.
And that, of course, is what the Statue of Liberty
Genius.
itself is an
Well,
embodiment
so
of
now,
magic.
now tell us how.
Oh, how? I don't know if I should.
I don't think we should.
No.
I don't know
No.
if
Well, we can
should.
edit it out, but I need to know.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
I'll talk about it
The,
later. But it was a really...
Is it fair
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
that you're thankful to David Copperfield for making you believe in magic?
Yes. Absolutely, yes. It gave me a real insight into the magic. I suppose in a way, I've always misperceived magic as a trick to mislead you. And I think his perspective is that magic is about shifting perception. And it's not about perpetrating a falsity on you. It's about making you see something in a different way.
Right.
And to give you that ability to gasp or to wonder, or, I suppose what Oprah would call an aha moment, that sense of and that's what the Statue of Liberty does. It has some ability. Yes, it's a big statue, but it also has this ability to move you no matter how many times you see it, because it is ultimately a blend of art and technology. It's hollow. You can climb up inside of it. It was a lighthouse. All sorts of technical stuff went into creating this image, this perception.
I've made another connection.
Yes.
RuPaul says you're born naked and the rest is drag. I will say now that you're born naked and the rest is magic.
Illusion.
Magic.
Okay, sorry, God.
Stepping on my lines.
I'm sorry,
Come up with
Jesus.
your own lines.
I've always been irritated with David Copperfield.
And point counterpoint.
Well,
James, how can you destroy Fenton's new relationship with David
had
Copperfield
you
right
been
here,
with
right
me,
now?
I think he's a very intense guy, but a love. I mean, I have a crush. I was just completely.
He's at the
just
top of his
taken.
field. He is the definitive
Well, Penn and
living
Teller.
magician. Different shtick.
Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to have a quick break. Blake, you got a question for us?
I do have a question. How many live shows does Copperfield do a year?
Ooh. You're listening to Our Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report, our countdown of the top 10 things this week for which we are most grateful.
Hallelujah.
I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, here with Tom Campbell, our Chief Creative Officer.
Hello.
Hello. And James St. James, literary sensation.
Here we are.
And we're all speaking softly because we're just hearing about KOST 103 Radio.
Coast 103.5.
In England, they call it KOST.
So before the break, what was the question, Blake?
How many live shows a year does David Copperfield perform?
I personally I love you, but I hate trivia questions with numbers because I feel like I can never get them right.
Yeah.
You gotta get a ballpark
I'm going
number.
to say there's 365 days a year.
Right.
He does 200 shows a year.
I'm going to say 300. I'm going to say he's a workhorse.
You're
I think he does 200. I'm going to say 500.
Oh,
Over 550 live shows.
good God
Well,
in
he
heaven.
didn't
According
I
to,
think-
according to IMDb.
So he does
Well-
he does usually 2 a day every day?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he doesn't sleep very much. He's like, he's a restless soul.
Oh.
Goodness.
All right, we're moving on. What have we got? Number 4.
Number 4.
I am grateful for restaurants, and one in particular. I find, and I've said this in the past, when I used to go to Orso a lot. I used to go to Kate Manalini's a lot, and
I
they
loved Kate Manalini.
and they both closed.
closed.
And I went to them at the last thing. I realized that for me, and I know this is weird, but restaurants in LA for me are kind of my churches. It's where
So you like to go to the same one?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's where I've gone on dates. It's where I've celebrated friends' birthdays. It's where friends, so
It's comfort.
Yes,
right?
but there's a lot of memories. There's a lot of, and you do a lot of work there. Sometimes you meet people. And my new favorite, it's not even my new, but I just realized whenever anyone comes to town, whenever there's an excuse to go out, which is less and less as I grow older, it's about Crossroads. Crossroads Kitchen, a plant-based restaurant, vegan, whatever you want to call it, on Melrose and Sweetser. and it's been around for a couple of years. I'm not like discovering it. And there's something because it's. Part of me just enjoys the idea that they're doing something very new for me for food. You can always have Italian. I love Italian. I grew up. I'm half Syrian. I love Syrian food. I love it. But like, there's something about the experimentation around vegan food or plant-based food. There's Cafe Gratitude, which I'd liked for a long time. There's Gracias Madre, which is also vegan. But there's something so savory.
Oh, you got the menu. Let's
about
see.
the Crossroads. Have you been to Crossroads?
I don't think I have actually.
But it's all vegan, right?
Yes, but it's the most
say it like
savory.
that?
It's the most. No, that's exactly right. Because it's a little bit like, it's like.
Where's the meat?
Because Gracias Madre, by the way, they are one of the first places in LA. It's getting around that have the Impossible. Is it the Miracle Burger? The Impossible Burger, which is the plant-based beef that they actually have bleed.
And then they franchise that out, right?
But I have to ask about some of these things because
I've had them all.
Oysters made out of artichokes. That doesn't sound.
I am inviting you both at my expense. Okay, you can come too. I'm just teasing, but we should go.
Let's go.
It's so
Wait,
savory.
crab cakes made out of hearts of palm and Granny Smith apples?
Everything is so savory and so good. And my favorite thing, you can only get the burger at lunch or in the late menu, but they have what they call Cuban cigars. Is that Impossible Cigars?
Uh-huh.
They just call Cuban cigars,
where's that?
which it's the meat in the middle of like a dough. So it's like a, I don't know, chimichurri.
Here's my beef with vegan food.
Oh, you were waiting for that.
It's basically like, and I don't know what the solution is, but why it's a shame that they have to refer to meat dishes to describe
That's
them.
just
Like-
what my point is all along.
Until Crossroads, I would have agreed with you because it's always like, well, don't call it a taco because it doesn't taste like a taco.
It's
It's
the
like
same-
stevia. It's like the Zevia sodas are like, it's Dr. Pepper. It's like, no, it's not. But if you want to get the Impossible, get the spicy meatball pizza. Is incredible. There's just
really?
spiced chickpeas, oven-dried tomatoes, baby kale, parsley.
I'll tell you what I would do. I would do the tomato bisque or split pea with the roasted Brussels sprouts and maybe some soft polenta. I don't think
I am 100% inviting you and Fenton
I don't think I need to
and
do
Blake
the oysters
to
made out of
a
Granny Smith
holiday.
apples.
We're gonna have a holiday
I'm gonna eat the
dinner.
oysters.
This is the four of us. We're not inviting anybody else. The
All right.
four of us are gonna have
that.
an
And then we
office
can have a spot of Celestial Seasonings tea
in your car. But Crossroads, and the chef's name is I'm so bad with names. It's Tal Ronan. And he is from Israel, and he he did Oprah's Fast. He did like Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres' wedding. It's a place where Gwyneth Paltrow goes. It's yummy, yummy, yummy.
My favorite story about Crossroads is Beyonce and Jay-Z ate there, and she wore like an all-leather outfit to a vegan restaurant.
Maybe it was pleather.
You can enjoy Crossroads Restaurant in Los Angeles at 8284 Melrose Avenue. James, what are you grateful for at number 3?
Number 3.
Well, I keep a journal of things.
Do you?
Things that it's mostly just things that I have to do and little thoughts that I write down that I want to remember and things like that. And I try and do a month goals, 6-month goals, and year goals, right? And this year it was a little hard to come up with a year goal. I struggled. It was like, halfway through February before I thought of something, and it was Dark Shadows. I was going to watch the entire 5 years of Dark Shadows.
Had you
this
not
year.
watched it before?
Well, I had watched a little bit as a child, and I remembered it as a child, and it scared the crap out of me as a kid.
What is it? Because
it was a 1960s soap opera. It was on during
daytime
the daytime
soap
soap opera,
Okay.
and it was in black and white in the beginning, and it had Barnabas. It was a vampire, and the vampire was trying to not be a vampire. I remember, and he was also kidnapping. It was crazy.
He was tortured. It's all about Barnabas Collins and Collinwood in Maine. And they were on this ocean.
Yeah.
And sorry.
No, keep going, because
And the idea was that it was now 1966 or
it
whatever
started
it was.
in 1966,
And he showed up.
And he'd been
someone
alive
had let him
for-
go.
And he'd been in a coffin for 200 years
And chained up kind
and
of
chained
thing.
up, yeah. And there's a giant picture of him in the hallway, and he walks in, and it's the same. This is the ancestor, Barnabas Collins, and he walks in, and he looks just like the person from 200 years ago.
What's the vampire franchise the kids liked so much a few years ago?
Twilight.
It's hard to believe, but it was the Twilight.
It was it took off like a
because
like-
kids watched soap operas after school because there was 3 channels.
Yes, and so, but I didn't realize, because I guess I stopped watching at a certain point, that it's crazy. I watch it's 1,229 episodes. I've watched 1,000 episodes now. I will do 40 episodes in a weekend.
They're half hours, right?
They're half hours,
Okay.
yes. And I will do one after the other, after the other, after the other. There's time travel. They go back in time to the 1700s. They go to the Salem witch trials. There's a parallel universe that in another room in the mansion that they keep falling into, so then it's
in a weird, almost Ryan Murphy kind of way.
Yeah.
They would take the characters and go backwards, or they'd be ancestors of them,
and the
or
same
it-
actors would play the people in 1700s, and then they'd have the parallel storyline in which they would reverse all the stories that were
Yes,
happening.
yes.
And instead of Barnabas coming, it would be Angelique came back, and then like you'd have a whole different story.
and they introduced witches
That does sound like this last season of American Horror
and
Story.
werewolves.
and werewolves and man-made monsters. There was a Frankenstein. There's zombies. At one point, they go to 1995, which is fascinating because it's 1970s version of what 1995 is going to be. And
Is
it's all-
RuPaul in it?
No, but everyone is still like wearing macrame. It's like very 70s. Everyone is like all hippie hair and everything. But it's fascinating because it starts off and everyone's in little micro minis because it's mod.
Yeah.
And big hair like that. And then by 1970, everyone's got hippie hair and
Yes,
they're all in
parts down the
yeah,
middle.
peasant dresses and everything. It's just fascinating to watch the evolution of the end of the 60s.
And it
as
was
told through a soap opera.
It burnt fast, but it was so popular. At
It
one
was
point.
so popular, and it's so bad because you see like boom mics, and someone will close the door, and the wall will shake and everything, and people forget their lines, and they have them taped all over.
Well, my favorite thing is Joan, and we're going to wrap up. But Joan Bennett, the great actress, Constance Bennett's sister,
from the 1930s and 40s,
Yes.
she's the matriarch.
she's the matriarch, and she's always invites people to the drawing room,
Yes.
which had double doors, which I used to think was so classic.
Yes.
And then she would you like some sherry, Barnabas? And then she would go over to the place where the sherry was and read her lines off a script.
But the other great thing, like Mrs. Howell too, and Dora, these were they all had small budgets for costuming. So these stars, Joan Bennett would bring her own gowns and her own jewelry.
So they looked good.
So they looked fantastic. It was just like Agnes Moorehead wore her own Kenneth J. Lane during
didn't know
Bewitched,
that. I love
and
that.
Mrs. Howell would bring her own outfits too, her Lily Pulitzer.
So how many more do you have to go? Just a few.
I have like 200. I have about like 4 months left. Is
Will
what
you
it
finish
is.
before the end of the year?
Oh, I
do you
hope
think?
so. That's my goal.
We need to, in addition to taking James to dinner, we probably need to start dropping by his house as he detoxes from the dark shadows.
But
He
it
shouldn't be
did-
left alone at night.
But it's a great through line to have through the year.
Yeah,
Something that just
that's
like
crazy.
yeah, and
that's
it,
an
and it,
enormous task.
Is Kate Jackson on yet?
Kate Jackson is on, and she's young.
was her first
She's
role.
a ghost. She's a ghost from the Spanish Armada, and she doesn't speak for the first 3 months that she's on. She just appears and then lures people into these other dark rooms, and they're these children who are being possessed by the da da da. It's just fascinating.
Dark Shadows is currently streaming on Hulu.
Yeah. That's why I'm watching it. I did Hulu. I'm doing Hulu.
Woo! Okay, so number 2.
Number 2.
You probably know this, but the theme of this year's Met Ball is Notes on Camp. Notes on Camp was an essay written in
1966.
60.
Wasn't it? I thought it was it?
1964 by Susan Sontag.
We're
who's
really
an
deep in the
academic.
60s right now. I
But
like
here's
it.
the thing. I guess what I reread the essay. It's almost incomprehensible. It's called Notes on Camp, and it consists of 58 notes on what camp is. And I've read it a couple of times, reread it, and I was thinking, suddenly the penny dropped that everything in my life, everything I like, everything I've always responded to
Is
from an
camp.
early age, before I even knew I was gay, was camp.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, absolutely.
It was like, it was
You know,
Oscar Wilde.
but-
It was
but
Batman
we-
and Robin, the TV series. It was Gothic ruins. I mean, Gothic novels.
Well, yeah, but
It was
we
like-
tend to
yeah.
think of it now as being Liberace and Batman and all
Right.
that stuff, but it really is like Rococo and
Yes.
Arte and
Yes.
you know Gothic
Art Deco.
Gothic novels from the
Yes.
19th century and things like that that
Right.
we don't really think of it anymore, but it has
people that knew their culture well enough they could make fun of it or step outside of it or
Right.
make a
It's
comment
anything
on
that
it.
is hyper stylized.
Right.
It's anytime you can put something in quotations like it's fabulous. You know,
Right.
I love. Yeah, well, look at that hairdo, or like that type of thing. And it's also there's the argument about intentional camp versus unintentional
I wanted to
camp.
talk about that because, like, I feel that Sontag's sort of series of notes. I mean, you really have to like read and reread and read and reread. I ended up highlighting it, and now the whole thing is highlighted. It's just a sort of mess of different colors. I can't make out what's going on. But I think she gets number one. The first note is right. She says it's a way of seeing the world as an aesthetic phenomenon. Okay, great. Number two, camp is disengaged, depoliticized, apolitical. No. She
but-
is wrong.
No, but what she's talking about there is that sort of like you're one of those dégagé type of people who is sort of like cooler than thou, and you're looking at it with sort of like you're looking at.
You're right. But here's what I was thinking. You know, like Sunset Boulevard, the end of Sunset Boulevard. Norma Desmond descends the staircase, ready for her close-up.
Yes.
It is one of the campus moments ever on film. And I have to say, the very first film I ever made was with my best friend when we were 8 years old, and I was Norma Desmond. So that speaks to the fact that I was grateful for camp, even though I didn't know what it was. Anywho, I had this idea that Trump coming down the escalator to announce his presidency is the modern equivalent of that moment.
Well, no,
And it's a camp moment.
But
It's ridiculous.
The great idea
Failed
of camp,
seriousness.
failed seriousness, but it's not failed seriousness because it was taken very
And
seriously.
he became president.
And he became president. But the idea that something is so bad that it's good is where people started looking at Gloria Swanson's performance, saying that it's so over the top, something is so camp, it's over the top that it's. But back to the idea of intentional versus
Yes,
unintentional,
yes.
and you have something like Rococo or Erte or something like
Yes.
that, in which the idea is that it's failed. It's something that's striving for magnificence but fails spectacularly. Okay.
See, I don't think Rococo ever did that.
Well, but when you
Rococo,
compare,
darling.
but when you compare it to Baroque, it's apples and oranges.
Baroque fell flat on its face. Rococo was but here's the thing.
But my point was is that you have something like John Waters, who is or Andy Warhol,
Right.
or who are intentionally creating bad movies, and they're doing it because it's so bad that it's good.
And they're brilliant.
That's the kind of camp that fails, according to Susan Sontag.
But she's wrong, because it's almost like the moment she decided that camp was unintentional, that camp was innocent, I feel that's the beginning of the great era of intentional camp.
Well,
because it is
okay.
John Waters' movies, it is Batman, and she also have you know this. She says that nothing in nature is camp. And I was talking to Andrew Bolton, who's the curator of the Costume Institute at the Met and is doing this exhibition. And he said, I disagree with that because what is a peacock?
Yeah.
What is a flamingo? They look pretty camp to me.
Yeah, no. That is very true. And you have a bunch of the fish that light up and
Octopi.
everything and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, there is a lot of camp in nature, and I
yes.
think she is wrong about that. But I do think that if you go through and you can find pros and cons of everything that she's saying. Because I
Right.
reread it this week too, and I read it when I was 16, and I had it in my locker. I remember
Right.
I had the notes on camp in my locker.
How long is it?
It's 52, 54 notes.
Right, so it's 58 notes.
58 notes, yes.
If only she'd made it 57, because then it could be like Heinz, for certain varieties. I bet she added one extra to
But
avoid
it is
that.
fascinating to read. And
Sounds
there
like a
is-
T-shirt that's begging to be made.
And she was doing it. She was making fun of academia, the way they make the notes in their treatises.
And she said, in fact, she said it's hard to pin down a sensibility, especially camp, which is why I think she opted for Notes on Camp by Susan Sontag. You can get it online for free. We'll post a link on the WOW Report. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll reveal the number one thing that made us go,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So grateful. Attitude of gratitude.
hey, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
How many turkeys are eaten every Thanksgiving?
Try to keep it
Now,
vegan.
These numbers again. My
Numbers,
goodness.
yeah.
Oh, it's just a good number. Listen to WOW Report Radio and SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back. This is our Attitude of Gratitude hour on the WOW Report. I'm here with Tom and James and Blake And
We're counting down the top 10 things that make us grateful.
okay, yes, we are. And before the break, I just had to ask, how many turkeys get eaten every Thanksgiving?
I'm going to say more than 40 million.
I'm going to say 41 million.
Oh, you were such a son of a bitch.
50 million popped into my head.
Wow, you're all so close. That's amazing. It's 45 million.
Wow.
I guess I won.
How dare you?
I've never been on Price is Right, but that's exactly how I play it. James, thank you for creating the metric.
What's number one?
Number 1.
I'm grateful for you guys.
No.
I'm grateful for, World of Wonder that brought us all together, for Radio Andy that allows us to do this show, and for us to spend time together. We work together. We've known each other for a long time, but this is a
Right.
special time that we get to sort of sit and bitch
I know.
and
I
yell and
always tell
scream.
people we could be accountants or something, but at least we get to make fun things when we come to work.
Yeah.
It's true because I don't really have much of a social life these days, but it does seem nice that this is like it's like the cheesecake moment where we all get together and we all
my
just get
gosh,
to
from
get
Golden
to,
Girls, the cheesecake moment.
Yeah, and
Sitting in the window, World of Wonder.
but it is.
on
It's
Hollywood
nice.
Boulevard.
This is my time with my girlfriends, with my good Judies, and we
Except-
all get to just sort of bitch and talk about the things that we love.
Except we flavored Oreos.
It's
We have.
true.
Yes, I brought you more.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, more Oreos?
More gifts.
Oh my
well,
goodness.
I'm so grateful to you guys too.
Wait, you're gifting us with a menu?
I'm gifting you with a new trend in Thanksgiving. This is HelloFresh. They're doing a Thanksgiving box. So you order the whole
You didn't
box.
get us the box though.
Absolutely not.
Even Scrooge gave a goose at the end of the show.
Come on, fuck you. Look, you get a.
I
You
get
can
a piece
get
of
free
cardboard?
six.
Oh.
No, it's a gift for you. You
All
get
right.
6
It's a
free
code.
meals.
Stop
You
it.
get 6 free meals
That's
if you sign
wonderful.
up. And
Wow.
of course, you didn't have to cancel after you've eaten the 6 meals because otherwise it's a rolling subscription, right? It's the way they get you.
Oh, then we have to keep on with the subscription?
Unless you cancel it. No, but it's
Like
free.
everything else,
It's
you know.
free. It's free. Anyway, they do a drama-free dinner, and they like all the ingredients. And HelloFresh do not pay for this. This is not an endorsement.
I know. I
But
wonder if we're
everything comes in little packets.
conflicting
It's-
with other.
I know, right?
other
Everything
sponsors.
comes-
Is this one where you get all the ingredients and you cook it, or does it come cooked?
Yeah, you cook it. You cook it. You get all the ingredients. You have to cook it yourself. And I
Can
suppose
you eat it raw?
I suppose it's a little like I get a little anxious sometimes because everything is in just the right amount you need is its own
Yes,
package.
yes.
So I'm a bit worried about packaging waste,
Yeah.
pollution.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's really easy because there's instructions. So you don't have to
Thank
do
you,
anything.
Fenton.
Delicious.
And
Oh,
thank you. I have to
it's
say,
grateful
it sounds
to you.
corny, but we're a weekly show. But people do listen, and people do watch on our YouTube channel, The Wow Report, and you get feedback. When I was at the not thousands, but when we were at DragCon, people would be like, "Oh my God, you're Tom Campbell." I'm like, "Oh, I really want to hide behind a table so you don't see how much weight I've gained." But thank you to our listeners and people who give us positive
thank you.
feedback, and to Andy who called you and said, "Do a show."
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
I mean, thank our fans, but let's thank our haters who are actually our motivators.
Yes, our haters. Thank you for motivating. Thank you for listening and hating every week.
But that goes back to the beginning. There's a full circle moment. Thank you for Trump, right? He's inspiring us to resist and be sassy and be
All right.
camp.
You know something to be grateful for? RuPaul's Drag Race coming back to television a little
Yes.
earlier this year.
December 7th.
Starts December 7th with a Christmas special called the Holla Slay Spectacular. And then starting the next Fridays at 8, All Stars 4.
We've never had it during December, have we?
No, we haven't.
It's sort of
a little
exciting.
Christmas present.
May
Yeah.
the winter win is what they're saying over at the VH1 marketing department. So and then season 11 will be coming after that. But it's a lot of Drag Race, and hopefully that'll help our dark nights and snowy, cold places to be warm and fuzzy. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy holidays to
Thanksgiving,
you.
yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, James. Thank,
Thank
you,
you.
Tom. Thank you, Blake.
Thanks, y'all.
Hey, same time, same place next week.
Yeah.
Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.